Hey, Mr. Jameson. Hey, your computer parts are in, most of them. We're still waiting for a couple. But as you can see, the Corsair computer case came in. It's the 200R carbide series. So now we can start mounting the components inside the case. We also have our Corsair CX750M modular power supply. And then we've got, of course, your Intel Core i7 4790 processor, the brains of your computer, the CPU. We've got the motherboard, which is Gigabyte Z97 HD3. We have your Nano USB Wi-Fi adapter by Edimax. Two Corsair Vengeance 8 gig memory sticks, so a total of 16 gigabytes of RAM. And we have your optical drive, your read writer. So we're waiting for your Samsung SSD hard drive, your 500 gig, and that should be here tomorrow along with the Windows 7. And of course, once we install Windows 7, we will upgrade you to Windows 10 so you have the latest and greatest. So we'll keep you posted as we go through the process here. Talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, guys, here's the empty case, and we're going to take the panels off of both sides, and now we're ready to install the power supply. Okay, so now the power supply is installed, and we're taking a look at it from the back. And now we're going to get ready to install the optical drive. We're just going to put it up top, right there where you would normally place it, in the front. And normally we would put in the SSD drive, but the SSD drive wasn't available yet. Okay, so here's the Gigabyte motherboard. It's the Z97 HD3, and we've unboxed it, and here it is laid out, a couple different positions. And then I'm going to show you the manual and the I/O shield and the two SATA cables, one for the optical drive and one for the SSD drive. Okay, so here's the Intel Core i7 4790, and here's that we're going to go ahead and install on this motherboard. Here's a close-up of the CPU and a little closer look at both the CPU, the heat sink, and the cooling fan for the CPU. Okay, so this is the LAN grid array, the LGA 1150 socket, and we're going to open that up with the lever, and now we should have it open. And now we're going to place the CPU, the i7 4790 CPU, into that socket, LGA 1150. Okay, so now we're going to lay the socket cover over the top of the CPU, and now we're going to bring the lever down. The plastic insert pops out, and now we have secured the CPU onto the motherboard. And here is the plastic insert that pops out when you secure the socket cover. So now that we have the CPU mounted to the motherboard, we need to attach the cooling fan and heat sink that already has pre-applied thermal paste by Intel to the bottom. And there it is. I've attached it to the motherboard, and I've attached the fan connector to the CPU fan header on the motherboard. Okay, this is the back side of the motherboard. When you mount the heatsink and cooling unit on top of the processor onto the motherboard, there's 4 pins, and you should go in a diagonal fashion. In other words, one pin and then diagonally the next pin, and then the opposite pin, and then the final pin. And those plastic pins come out the back side of the motherboard. And you should look at the bottom of the motherboard and make sure that they're fully out and engaged, which you can see if you look at four corners there, just the plastic four corners, that they're fully engaged, locking that heatsink and fan onto the motherboard. Okay, I just want to give you a few views of the different sides of the motherboard. And here's the I/O ports, and this is the SATA port side. And then we'll just zoom out a little bit so you can just see it a little bit more of the motherboard. Okay, so here are the two 8 gig memory sticks, the Corsair Vengeance DDR3s. And this is just another angle after they've been unboxed. And then we're going to go ahead and mount them into the slots for the memory slots on the motherboard. The two gray are slot 1 and slot 2, and then the black is slot 3, and then the far back black is slot 4. And I'm just showing you some different angles, views of the memory mounted into the slots on the motherboard in the final view. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that I/O shield and mount it into the empty case. That's the empty rectangle where it goes. Here's the back side, and here is the I/O shield installed, and here is the back side where the I/O shield is installed. Okay, so let's get ready to mount that motherboard. There are 6 standoffs inside the case. On the bottom there, you can see them. And we have mounted the motherboard to the case using those 6 standoffs. And the back ports are all going right out that I/O shield. Okay, next step. Now it's time to hook up the motherboard power cable and the CPU power cable. Now, you might be able to see in this picture the motherboard power cable, but up above is the CPU power cable, and it's hard to see from this angle. This is our Samsung Evo 850 SSD 500 gig drive, and we are going to mount that in to our case, and it's a great looking drive, solid state drive. And there it is. It's got the SATA cable and the power cable hooked up, and it's looking good. Okay guys, behind the scene I went ahead and hooked up all the front panel cables to the motherboard, so we would have power, the reset, the power light, the microphone, headphones, and the USB ports. Okay, and I also hooked up everything else, including the optical drive. However, I did run into a problem with a dead front cooling fan. Amazon went ahead and reimbursed us for the fan, and we have ordered a replacement fan, and it should be here shortly. Let's go ahead and install Windows 7, and we're just using this box for his license key, but we're actually going to install it using my memory stick. Okay, Mr. Jameson, there's your new PC right there. We've just installed Windows 7. This computer is blazing fast. We just go down here and click on the internet, boom, we're in Google already. Alright, so we are going to get this thing updated to Windows 10. Thanks for watching. Bye. Good morning, Mr. Jamison. This is your new PC. I'm going to go ahead and hook up my external audio here. So in case we want to hear something, let's go ahead and turn it on. And let's see how quickly we boot up. I'm expecting it to be blazing fast, which apparently it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and log in. Windows 10 desktop. Let's go ahead and start Internet Explorer. We're on Google. Let's go to Amazon. Let's go to Gigabyte, which is the maker of the motherboard that's in this PC. Let's go back to Google and to YouTube. Okay, so the internet is working pretty doggone good. Let's go ahead and play a little music. So this build, we still want to get some more software installed on here for you. So I'm going to call you and consult with you on that. We've got the wiring to clean up inside the box before we ship it to you. So that's the update, Mr. Jamison. It's looking really good. It's looking blazing fast. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Okay, the replacement front cooling fan came in from Amazon. Here's just another view of it. And then here is our case with the temporary fan I had in there. And here's the case after I removed the temporary fan. And this is just more of a close-up. Now this is the installation of the new fan. And then this should be just another zoom out. Okay, I've cleaned up all the wiring and tied it off with the wire ties. It's looking pretty doggone good. And now this is the side panel. And it went on real nice. It's looking good. And this is how the front side of the case looks, the wiring. It's all tied off, nice and clean. Looking good. I'm going to give you a few different angles here, I think. Yeah, just a few different angles. And then, of course, we're going to go ahead and put on the side panel that has a nice little window that looks pretty doggone sweet. Hey, Mr. Jamison. So there's your new computer. This is Windows 10 Professional. And we've put a few more pieces of software on here. So it went to sleep there. I've got that set up, so we were checking out the screensaver. So here we have Malwarebytes, and I've got the lifetime license on its way from Amazon. Should be here tomorrow. And we'll go ahead and update this so that it's the full version for the lifetime. Then we also installed Microsoft Office 2013 Professional. We have Word. Okay, we have Excel. Okay, and we also have Outlook. But as we discussed in our consultation yesterday, I'm going to come to the Bay Area and deliver this personally to your home, do the data transfer, configure Outlook, and just set up the computer and make sure you're happy before I take off. So I'm not going to open up Outlook just yet because I still want to get that set up for the data transfer, so that we can just bring over your current configurations without any hitch. Okay, so we know we've got the Internet Explorer. We've also got, I was going to put Google Chrome on here possibly for you, but we'll wait till Saturday and see if you really want it. We have Mozilla Firefox. Okay, and we've got Windows Media Player, Microsoft Paint. This is just on the taskbar here, so it's easily accessed. Just quickly, I've already demonstrated how quickly we're getting from one website to the other website. Obviously, this depends on the bandwidth from your internet service provider, but the computer speed is also important in popping this thing this good. So let's go ahead and close up all this. And I think the last, okay, we did want to show you this little specky. Gives you all the specifications of your computer. Of course, Windows Windows 10 Professional 64-bit, but what's really nice here, it gives us the temperature, because you know that I replaced the defective fan. I wanted to make sure that the temperature was looking good with this new fan that we've got in there, but the cooling system's looking great. Our Intel Core CPU is at 31 degrees Celsius, which is just rock solid perfect. 32 degrees, it fluctuates just a little bit in between there. The motherboard's at 33 degrees Celsius, and our Samsung SSD 500 gig drive is at 32 degrees Celsius. Absolutely spectacular. That's exactly how you want your cooling system to perform, so that your components stay healthy and don't overheat. And because once they've been overheated, they're no longer reliable. So that's why we want to keep that cooling system just perfect, and it's working great. I guess the only other thing that I was just going to quickly, just as a demonstration here, is just go to the photos, bring up a folder here, and I only have 4 pictures on the computer, but you can see how quickly we can go, in between the photos. Once we get all your data over here, we'll have thousands of photos, and you can just fly through them very, very quickly. So this is your system, Mr. Jamison. I think you're going to be really happy. I'm looking forward to coming over and seeing you on Saturday and getting this all set up for you. Thanks for watching. See you on Saturday. RemoteTechSupport.biz. Take care. Correction, it's RemoteTech.biz. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I built this system for Mr. Jamison. And come visit us at RemoteTech.biz and let me build your computer for you. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.